Hello and welcome to video 2 of the 10-part series on the quantum takeaways for supported living DSPs. This is the second video and we're really going to talk about the staff codes versus client codes. So commandment number 2 really says codes that have the staff description can only be used on the staff grid. Now remember, the staff portion of the map or the grid is the top half. Again, that's your payroll. So obviously the bottom half is the clients. And my subnote says these codes will be used in the event that you are on the clock, but you are not working with a client. Notice the ampersand on the front, which is, we'll get to that in a second. So example, this is time like sick time, personal time, vacation time, time that you're going to get paid for, but you are not providing any services to a client, so we can't bill for that. So let's see that in practice. So I'm going to go back into Quantum. And I'm going to open up the same map that I had for commandment number 1. So currently I'm working in 5301. My shift was from 6 to 7. But let's say for whatever reason at 7 a.m. I was relieved because I had to, oh goodness, I had to take off. Let's say it was an emergency. I got sick, there was a family emergency, whatever. So let's say my shift was actually from 6 to 8, but I had to leave at 7 because of whatever this emergency was. So once I leave the house, I'm no longer with the clients. So I shouldn't see anything down here in their portion because, again, I wasn't with them, so I can't show them anything. But since I have earned, in this case, sick time, I want that to be shown on my grid so I can get paid for it. So to do that, I'm just going to come up to my portion of the grid up here, highlight to the end of my shift. In this case, let's say it was 8 o'clock, right click, and I'm going to, in this case, select sick. Now, as you can see, sick has this word staff in parentheses behind it. So to shadowing, training, travel, vacation, there's admin, bereavement, FMLA, jury duty, so forth. So pretty much, commandment number 2 says, hey, if you see anything with this word staff behind it, it's only going to show up, or let me back up, it should only show up on the top half of your grid, which again, that's your payroll. We should never see any of that staff stuff down here with the clients. That doesn't make any sense. It's going to get kicked out, and really you're wasting your time putting it in because it doesn't do anything. So again, in this situation, I had to leave at 7 o'clock, my shift ended at 8, and I got sick, or again, there was a family emergency or whatever, so I'm going to use sick time. All I do is I enter it in, I hit the enter button, and now it's in there. So, if you remember, if you were just watching takeaway number 1's video, we learned that, hey, I provided 1 hour residential services, so I'm going to get paid for that. During that time I was providing residential services, both of the clients were in the house because you can see they both have ResHab as selected, which means again they were in the house. But at 7 o'clock, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. I'm still going to get paid because I had sick time accrued. I have earned sick time, but I have nothing down here because again, I wasn't with any clients, so I can't claim them anywhere because it wouldn't make any sense. So actually we have some other scenarios we can have. So let me just jump ahead to 10 a.m. Let's say generally I'm supposed to be out at Hawthorne Glen, but oh goodness, I had to swing by the main building off Park Place because I had to do a TV shot, or I had to do an admin meeting or something. You had to go to the main office to take care of something. Well, if you were brought in, you're still on the clock, so you do need to be paid for that. So let's say I had to attend a meeting from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So I'm just going to select this. And actually, there's a number of different ways we can do this, and I'll kind of go through each one just so there's at least a form of consistency. But let's say you had to go to Park Place to do your CPR and first aid training. There is actually a training code down here that says staff. Now, one thing to keep in mind is just above it, there's shadowing. So there's a shadowing staff code and there's a training staff code. At first glance, they probably sound pretty similar, but in reality, the way I like to see it is shadowing means that you were in the house with the clients, but you were just shadowing. There was another DSP with you that was actually providing the services. You're probably a new staff that just checking them out. So in my mind, shadowing means you were in the house. Training, on the other hand, means you were not in the house. You were not in the vicinity of a client. So again, you had to go over to Park Place for your first aid and CPR. You had to go for the crisis. It's not CPI anymore, but the physical restraint training. You had to go to do that. You're not with a client when you do that, so you can't do reshab because you're not in the house. I wouldn't do shadowing because you're not in the house shadowing. You're technically you're off site, you're somewhere else, but you're still on the clock and you're still gonna get paid for it. So again, the main difference between shadow and training is shadow means you're in the house, training means you're not in the house. One thing I have been questioned on, and it's a great question. As you know, whenever you log in, the house that shows up is your default house, and you can switch between houses back and forth. But excuse me, when you're in training, say you had to leave and go over to again the main office off Park Place, I've been asked, what house do I use? Well, actually, it really doesn't matter. You can use your default house. You can use another house. It really does not matter, because if I'll go ahead and enter this in. If I come across this when I'm finalizing payroll, and I see, okay, Trey was doing training from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the 2nd, since it's training, that doesn't tell me you were in the house. So again, it doesn't matter if you're putting training time in your normal house or you select another one. It really doesn't matter. Preferably, you just keep it in the same house you generally work in. That's fine. But again, the whole premise of this is saying that the shadow time means you were in the house. Again, you were with another staff member who's claiming the residential services. But again, you're new and you're shadowing. You're actually at the house. You're physically with the client. Training, on the other hand, not so much. You're probably not at the house, which means you're probably not with the clients. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this, and I'll go through a couple more. Vacation, whenever you work here long enough, you get to earn vacation. If you get it approved off, you can go ahead and take vacation time. So, for example, again, as of right now, this is the 2nd of November, but let's say I want to go ahead and put in my vacation time for tomorrow because I won't be in because I have an approved day off. So to do that, I'm just going to go over here to this drop-down, drop-down date. I'm going to click on it, and I'm just going to jump forward in time to the 3rd. Now I've got some, ignore that, I've got some test stuff in there. But let's say my shift is generally from, let's say 4 p.m. to midnight. So generally my shift is 4 p.m. to midnight on this day, but I had approved time off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take vacation time. So I can do this one of two ways. If you watched the previous video, you saw me left clicking and dragging out, or I said 4 p.m. right? I can just click on it once, right click. It's going to default to the time that I selected, but I'm just going to change this to midnight, and it automatically does it for you. In this case, I'll just say that I was on vacation. Excuse me. So right now, from 4 p.m. to midnight, it shows this vacation. So now I'm going to get paid for that vacation time that I've taken. But as you can see, there's nothing down here in the clients because, again, I'm on vacation. I'm not doing anything with the clients, so I can't put anything down for them because, I mean, you weren't with them, so there's no reason to have anything on them. I'm going to go back in time, and then we'll kind of go through a couple more. Along the same lines with vacation, we do have personal time. If you have approved time off for that, take it. in the event that you got called for jury duty. Obviously, we have let you do your civic duties. So again, if your shift is usually from, if you have to leave or you have to come in late, but your shift say starts at 8 a.m., you can use jury duty time, so you can still get paid as if you were on your shift. But since you weren't with the clients, you can't do anything. Admin time is a really important one. That will actually be covered in either Commandment number 3 or Commandment number 4's video. But the whole premise of takeaway number 2 is anytime you have these sick codes, these staff codes, again, which are anything to have the word staff behind it, they should only be showing up here on the top grid. They should never show up down here. So for example, if I see a bereavement on a client, that's a big no-no, because bereavement is a staff code. There should be no staff codes on the bottom half of the grid. So they're going to be taken out. And again, try not to put staff codes down here, because honestly, you're just wasting your time. They're going to be deleted. We won't bill for it. You won't get paid for it. It's a complete waste. So just make sure that your staff codes are showing up here and nothing down here. Thank you.